Hello everyone, it's Stud here. Happy Spooky Scary Month. Today, on this Spooky Scary Month, I will be telling a famous Japanese ghost story called Yotsuya Kaiden, which is the story of Oiwa and Tamiya Amon, a tale of betrayal, murder, and ghostly revenge. It is customary for actors and crews putting on a production of Yotsuya Kaiden to visit Oiwa's grave to pay their respects. Now sit back and enjoy the story. But first, I want to give a little background on this Japanese folklore. Oiwa is the tragic and terrifying ghost from Yotsuya Kaiden, the ghost story of Yotsuya. Along with Okiku and Otsuyu, she is one of the Nihon Sangdai Kaiden, Japan's big three ghost stories. Oiwa's story is based on real-life events which took place in the 17th century Edo, though these events were dramatized in the 1825 kabuki play Tokaido Yotsuya Kaiden, which became very popular and cemented Oiwa's place as Japan's most famous ghost. Countless of variations and adaptations of her tale followed. The real Oiwa, however, died in 1636. It is rumored that her ghost still haunts the places that she lived, as well as those who performed her story. Mysterious disasters and deaths occurring around a number of productions, including theater, film, and television adaptations, which have been blamed on the curse of Oiwa's ghost. There have been numerous attempts to appease her angry spirit. A small shrine and a temple dedicated to her were erected on the ruins of her family's house in Yotsuya. After a fire destroyed the shrine in 1879, Oiwa's shrine was moved to another part of Tokyo. The shrine was again destroyed in the fire bombings of World War II. After the war, her new shrine as well as the original location in Yotsuya were both rebuilt. A gravestone at Myokoji in Sakomo, Tokyo, is widely believed to be Oiwa's actual grave. It is customary for actors and crews putting on a production of Yotsuya Kaiden to visit Oiwa's grave to pay their respects. Now then, since you know a little bit of the background, it's time to move on to the story, shall we? I present to you the ghost of Oiwa. Enjoy! Oiwa was married to a samurai named Amon. It was not a happy marriage, for Amon was a wasteful man and a thief. One day, Oiwa decided to leave her husband and return to her family home. Amon followed after her, but was stopped by Oiwa's father, Yotsuya Samon. Samon knew of Amon's misdeeds, that he had stolen money from his employer, and he demanded that Amon divorce Oiwa. Amon drew his sword and murdered Samon. Amon returned to Oiwa and lied that a stranger had killed her father on the road. He begged her to reconcile, and he promised to avenge her father's murder. Sometime after that, Oiwa became pregnant and bore Amon a son. Times were very hard. They had little money. Oiwa became sickly after giving birth, and Amon grew resentful of Oiwa. Next to their home lived a rich doctor named Uto Kihei. He had a beautiful daughter named Oime. Oime was instantly attracted to Amon and wanted to marry him. The doctor loved his granddaughter and conspired to help marry Amon. He prescribed an ointment for Oiwa to help her recover from her sickness. In reality, it was a poison which horribly disfigured her face. Seeing Oiwa's scarred face, Amon's resentment turned into hatred. Afterwards, Kihei suggested that Amon divorce Oiwa and marry his granddaughter instead. If he were to marry Oime, all the wealth of the Ito family could be his to inherit. Amon was so disgusted by Oiwa's face, and Ume was so young and attractive that he agreed. Amon began pawning Oiwa's possessions, her kimono, her clothes. even their son's clothes to have enough money to marry Uime, because he needed a legitimate reason to divorce his wife. Amon hired his friend Takuatsu to take advantage of Oiwa so that he could accuse her of infidelity. On a prearranged night, when Amon was out of the house, Takuatsu entered and approached Oiwa. Upon seeing her face, he was so frightened that he abandoned his orders. Takuatsu explained Amon's plan to Oiwa and then showed her a mirror. Oiwa had not known what the ointment had done to her face. When she saw her reflection, she was horrified. She tried to cover the disfigurement by brushing her hair over it, but when she touched her hair, it fell out in large, bloody clumps. Oiwa went mad. She grabbed a nearby sword and punctured her own throat. As Oiwa lay on the floor bleeding to death, she repeatedly cursed Amon's name until she could breathe no more. Oiwa's body was discovered by Amon's servant, Koihei. When Koihei delivered the news to Amon, instead of becoming upset, Amon was overjoyed. Koihei became suspicious of Amon, but before he could do anything, Amon murdered Koihei. He nailed Koihei's and Oiwa's bodies to a door and disposed of them in a river. Afterwards, he made up a simple lie that Koihei and Oiwa had been sleeping together. He was finally free to marry Uime. Or so he thought. Oiwa's curse did not wait long to take effect. On his wedding night to Uime, Amon had trouble sleeping. He rolled over in bed and saw right next to his face the horrible, disfigured face of Oiwa's ghost. He grabbed his sword and slashed out at the ghost. Just then, the illusion ended, and Amon saw that it was not Oiwa he had cut, but it was Uime. His new bride lay dead on the floor. Terrified, Amon ran next door to seek his new father-in-law's help. However, when he got to Ito's house, he was confronted by the ghost of the murdered Koihei. Once again, Amon slashed with his sword, but no sooner had he done so than the illusion ended, and he saw Ito Kihei's slain body lying on the floor. Afterwards, Amon fled into the night, but Oiwa's ghost pursued him. Everywhere he went, Oiwa's ghost was there. Her ruined face haunted his dreams. Her terrible voice cried out to him for vengeance. She even appeared to him in the paper lanterns that lit his way. Eventually, Amon ran into the mountains where he hid in an isolated cabin, but Oiwa followed him there too. Haunted by Oiwa's ghost, no longer able to tell nightmare from reality, Amon descended into madness.